Producer Tomizawa really likes to reveal a million things every interview. There's a lot to unpack here, so let's just get to it. Around the time of the Tales of Festival, Dengeki Online magazine had a chance to interview Tales producer Tomizawa, and they got him to reveal a ton of new info on Tales of Arise. The wonderful Abyssal Chronicles has generously translated the interview in full. You can find a link to that in the comments. I'm just going to cover the major points and, more importantly, the new info. The start of the interview is all about the marketing and PR differences between Japan and the West. Traditionally, Tales has been announced in Japan first, and then localized news comes sometime later. This time around, they are trying to split the PR evenly. There'll be news that we in the West get first, and news that fans in Japan will get first, but it will reach everyone worldwide with as small a gap as possible. This leads into what I had already suspected. Tomizawa says that they are indeed aiming for Tales of Arise to have a simultaneous worldwide release in 2020, or very close to simultaneous at least. The majority of the interview from this point is spent talking about the game's design and its systems. A lot of the initial talk is Tomizawa reiterating that they aren't completely changing what Tales is overnight. This is an evolution, but with tradition very much in mind. And you can't talk about evolution without talking about the new graphics. Tomizawa goes into a little more detail about how they used Unreal Engine 4 and the aesthetic they are shooting for. They chose Unreal Engine 4 because of its clear advantages producing atmosphere and rendering light in comparison to their in-house engines up to this point. But out of the box, UE4 tends to render a realistic, generic aesthetic, and they definitely wanted to give it that Tales feel. They have implemented a custom shader, and he gave an example of how they are using it. They've added more detail to the foreground while scaling back the features in the distance. What you see in front of you is vivid while the background fades away like a watercolor painting. He notes they experimented with a hand-drawn shader, but it made the characters look low detail and low resolution, and that's not what they were going for. The interviewer then moves on to get some clarification on things we've seen in the trailer, and in the announcement materials in general. Tomizawa reveals that in this illustration, it is showing the planet Rena from the surface of Dana. We can safely assume then that this means that the grassy area in the trailer is on Dana, but Tomizawa wouldn't reveal whether the volcanic area was on Dana or Rena. He does say that Dana has a technology level around the Middle Ages and no magic, while Rena is highly developed in both tech and magic. There will be quite a difference in terms of their appearance. He also notes that Rena has enslaved Dana for 300 years, and Dana's culture has been influenced by this arrangement. There may be architecture on Dana that comes from Rena, for instance. It is then reconfirmed that Tales of Arise will not be open world, and since I did not clarify what open world meant in my last video, I will do so here. When they are talking about open world, they are talking about games like Skyrim and Breath of the Wild, where you have one large map. Tales of Arise will not be like that, but it is being made to feel somewhat like an open world. They want the world to feel huge, they've added verticality to the field maps, and they want it to be interesting to explore. Tomizawa says in the illustration there's a castle in the background. Can you get there? We think that kind of discovery and wonder made possible by fields is very important. This goes back to what I have been saying for a while. The structure appears to be similar to Dragon Quest XI, dungeons and towns connected by large field maps. And also, like I've said before, this seems like a very natural progression for the Tales series. The next big important bit is confirmation that combat is encounter based. The interviewer said that after the trailer was shown, some people took the footage to mean that battles weren't encounter based, but Tomizawa laughs and says that they are extremely encounter based. They tried various approaches, but between designing the fields to work well and making Tales party combat fun, they couldn't find a balance. To enjoy both of them the most, they used encounters. He also talks about the emphasis on giving players control and putting them in charge of decision making in battle. They want enemies to be very visual and they want you to react to them rather than watching a gauge or something like that. He says this doesn't mean battles are harder, they just want it to be satisfying for players who want to master the system. He did also say players on auto can enjoy auto as well, which either alludes to the semi-auto setting in the linear motion battle system, which moves the character automatically to stay in range of enemies, or full auto, which is just AI controlling all the characters. In either case, it does seem like the new system will be an iteration of the linear motion battle system that the series is known for, which is great because I know quite a few people who were worried it would be completely different. Tomizawa did confirm that the battles are party-based and there are more party members that haven't been revealed yet. The interviewer didn't ask about multiplayer support, which has been a series staple, but for those of you out there who have been asking whether it would return or not, I'm feeling pretty good that it will be in Tales of Arise. And speaking of series staples, Tomizawa confirmed there would be animated cutscenes, 3D rendered cutscenes, and of course skits. They talked a lot about what kind of scenes to use where, and whether any of these elements needed an evolution or a change, but they never considered removing an element like skits entirely, as it's a tradition they are definitely keeping. To sign off, Tomizawa once again confirms that Tales of Arise is brand new and it does not share continuity with any previous title. They also do not have plans for a follow-up title. They want players, new and old, to enjoy this as a full story. It's also the Tales series' 25th anniversary next year, and the development team are keenly aware of that. He notes that it would be to the brand's benefit to do something big for the 25th anniversary, and if Tales of Arise is part of that, they have a responsibility to live up to that position. So as I said way back at the beginning, there'll be a link to the full interview translated by Abyssal Chronicles in a pinned comment below. Check that out, and I'll see you all soon.